What's good? God is good. I'm your host, Jay Did It. Welcome to Thursday Therapies, a podcast for all creatives, writers, rappers, poets, artists, activists, Sacramento community therapy session. Today we have Amber, a Sacramento-based creative, community builder, and founder creator of Sac Artist Collab and Culture Circle, amongst other platforms. She is dedicated to uplifting the city through music, art, culture, and positivity. Born in Los Angeles and raised between the Bay Area and Sacramento, Amber's life journey has been shaped by resilience, creativity, and healing. With a background in poetry and theater and an artistic expression, she has transformed personal challenges, including grief, family struggles, and rebuilding after a divorce into a mission of authenticity and connection. Through her work, Amber brings artists, creators, and community members together to create spaces rooted in collaboration, culture, and good vibes while inspiring others to grow, heal, and show up as their true selves. Welcome to Thursday Therapies.
Thank you, Jamie. I'm happy to be here.
Yes,
wow.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction.
Right. It's all true,
amazing.
though.
Thank
It is
you.
because, like we were saying earlier, I've been seeing you ever since I've been on the scene, and you've been showing up and having all these great spaces for artists, and just all the time being there and uplifting the community, and I love it.
Thank you. Thank you. It's
Yes.
it's good to be in a position where I'm able to give more to my community right now.
Right. Yeah, it is. Absolutely. So how's everything going with you right now?
Well, currently I have a sciatic nerve issue, so if I look a little uncomfortable, that is what's going on with me. But other than that, I'm feeling very, very blessed. Very happy to just be alive and all of this chaos that we're having right now, just really trying to stay centered and grounded and keep pushing forward in the things that I want to achieve in my life right now. So that's kind of what I've been fully focused on, and healing from my sciatic nerve as well.
Right. Well, thank you so much for being here. Thank you. I was just like, I would have probably called and canceled, and so I commend you for showing up, and pushing through. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, and I hope that you heal sooner than later, so you can be back out there, supporting the community.
Yes.
But take your time for sure. It's always good for you to rest, take your time to heal, and whatever you got to get back to, it'll be there. Just take the time out for yourself.
Thank you. I hope so. I hope people understand. But yeah, I think
understand.
That's important. Being part of the community, event planning, whether you're a performer or artist, it's like sometimes you do have to take that time out to be better so that you can show up, and it's really hard for me right now, honestly, is because I'm a go-getter. I like being out there, and I've been missing a lot. I can't even help my daughter right now. Like Luna, I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'll help as much as I can, and I'm on the floor like, okay, I'll do what I can right now. And I think that's a good lesson for myself, because I am one of those people who I don't always ask for help when I need it. And I think this is like God's way of saying, sit your butt down. You need to ask for the help that you need and the support that you need right now.
Absolutely. Ask for help and receive it.
Yes.
Receive it graciously.
Yes, absolutely.
Definitely.
So definitely feeling grateful for.
Well, thank you so much for showing up. As you know, Thursday Therapy is a podcast for bringing awareness to mental health and just getting to know the community and people out there uplifting the community, and to see your journey and let everybody know what you've been through.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you some questions, and we'll go from there, and everybody's going to know who Amber is.
Okay.
The creator.
Let's go. Let's go.
So how did moving between LA, the Bay Area, and Sacramento shape who you are today?
Ooh. Well, it shaped me, I would say culturally shaped me, because I was around a lot of diverse people in general. Like my family, had my family, then moving to the Bay Area, I was around a lot of white folks up there. I'm just going to say what I say. And so very different culturally, but still, I think I always remained who I was, I discovered hip hop when I was living in Sonoma County. And that to me was probably the most life-changing part of my life, because I was in an area where I didn't identify with the people around me, but I could come home and put on Yo MTV Raps and then watch and see these brilliant Black people,
Right.
you know,
Right.
being all positive, talking about, you know, bringing community together, saying, you know, forget the violence and all
Right.
that, you know, and like really breaking the stigma of what like a lot of those white folks thought about me, or thought, you know, where I came from was all about and stuff. So yeah, it's a weird, kind of ironic that I really discovered and really planted who I was in an area that wasn't accepting of who I was, like, externally.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. I get exactly what you're saying, because I grew up in the same situation, you know, in a predominantly white, you know, town, and really had to figure out where I belonged, and it wasn't there. I mean, I do love it there, but of course, clearly, culturally, I'm different. I look different. So.
Yes. And that's how I think that is. Yeah, I think growing up with that, and I never really I don't know, I don't have like prejudice against people in that sense.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I think what I do now is like being open to white artists, and, you know, we don't just have Black artists on our lineup. We have white artists, we have Mexican artists. Like, it's all about the music, you know,
and diversity,
and the diversity and the stories behind the music, and the stories behind the artists that, you know, really, really matter. And, so yeah, I think that has really grounded me in just being accepting of other people and understanding of other people. I've always been fascinated with people and their stories, and like where are you from? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And because I think it's important to talk about that too.
Absolutely.
You know, and then with that came poetry and theater and things like that. But yeah, I'd have to say that's really where my creativity was like really grounded in who I am, who I identify as. Right. You know.
Nice. So what was your childhood environment like growing up?
Well, my childhood was pretty rough. My parents divorced when I was 2, and I was split between my mom and dad, like from age 8 to about 12. And my mom also struggled with addiction, and she was also bipolar. So it was really rough. Like growing up was really rough, and going back to like really trying to find my footing and like who I am, like my identity in the world, you know, it was like having those challenges of what's going on in my family life, and then having challenges of what's going on in my school life and my peer life, you know. So it really, those are the things that just really, I think, make me who I am today. Just being very empathetic to other people's challenges, being, again, understanding, but also, like, even though I had a rough childhood, I don't ever look at myself as a victim of that childhood. I look at that's an opportunity to do better than where I came from.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's kind of how lived my life and raised my kids that way too, you know. Like, I always wanted to give them better than what I had, you know, and not in a false reality sense, you know. Like, I know I'm only capable of doing so much, but I'm going to give them what I'm capable of giving them, and then I'll help them figure out the rest, you know. If they want more, then we can figure out how you can get more, you know.
Absolutely. So, like, you strive to be the best you can, and give your children the best you can with what you got.
Yes.
And that's how I feel, and I believe too. Like, I love my mom. We didn't have a lot. We didn't have, she didn't have a lot, but she did the best she could.
Yes.
And she was a wonderful mother to me. You know, there were challenging times, but I know that she did her best to give me the life that I had.
Yes. That's how I feel about my mom. Like, after all was said and done, probably when I was in I would say in my 40s. My mom passed away in 2016 of a drug overdose, of all things. And during that time, though, she was going through it because her dad had passed away. She lost her dad and her brother within like a 6-week period.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was really rough for her. And her dad was just like her whole world, like everything. And I did see the deterioration. But before she passed, I had a moment with her where I just really wanted to know, like, where all of that and her came from, you know, and found out that she was raised by her grandmother from the age of like 6 to 12.
Wow.
And I told you my timeline from 8 to 12,
Yeah,
right? So it's like patterns, right?
Yeah.
So like I really, at that moment, I really understood, like, and it makes me sad thinking about it, but I really understood that there was like this pattern that needed to be broken.
Right.
You know, within the women of our family.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, look, and then after my mom passed, it was like a real part of the healing of my healing journey was really taking a serious look at like who I am, where I came from, how did all of those things like make me who I am today, and what I'm thinking today, and how I'm feeling, you know. And there are parts of, you know, the hard parts where I don't want to feel like that anymore, you know. And how do I get to that point where I'm not feeling like that anymore? Well, I have to ask myself, why do I feel like that? Where did this come from? And so it's just a lot of like really like deep diving into myself, into my family's journey, into my life, you know, like all the things that make up life, you know. And sometimes it's like it's not easy just to push things under the rug, you know. Like I lived most of my life with my mom, with her issues, with her problems. That's not my issue. That's not my problem. Not your problem. But it was my problem. It is my issue. Because if I don't take care of like how I feel about that issue, how it affects me, then that's going to bleed into my relationship with my own girls and my own family.
Exactly.
So yeah, like after she passed, I took a real hard look at myself, and just like, you know, looked at the good and the bad, you know, and decided I don't want that, I want that. And then that's kind of where I am right now, you know.
That's amazing. That's amazing to have such insight about what you want in life and what you don't want, because I kind of did the same thing after my mom passed away. It's just like I got to break those cycles, because I feel like she could have lived a lot longer given she had gotten the help that she needed, you know. So that's why I'm so strong on mental health and health all together, because I want to break those cycles, because I have 2 daughters of my own that I want to pass on generational wealth through health and mental health, and just really being a healthy human being. You know. And I feel like me getting the help is showing my children that they don't have to go through that same cycle, and they'll get help right away. Because I don't want to pass it on to my kids. Just like you're saying, you don't want to pass that on to your kids. But that takes a lot of healing. That takes a lot of strength.
It does.
And just to even have that insight is amazing.
I think it takes a lot of courage, really, to really look into yourself, because there's a lot of parts of, you know, discovering. There are a lot of parts of myself where I was just like, even like, because that whole time too, 2016, it was like, I'm never going to let people treat me the way that my mom treated me. Like that was the first thing that came to my mind when she passed. And then it trickled down to my husband, like, oh, motherfucker, you treat me the same way, you know. And then it was like, oh, I had to take a real good look at that. Like what did that marriage mean to me at that time? Is it giving me what I really need? Like I felt like that marriage was killing me at the time, you know. It was like sucking the life out of me. And I had to take a good hard look, like, am I in this relationship because I don't want to be with, like, my parents having divorces and putting my kids through this thing. But sometimes those having to separate yourself from things that are hurting you, you know what I'm saying? Like, if it's not good, it's not good. And I had to really sit like with that. Like, it's not good for you, baby girl. You need to get on up,
get going,
keep going.
That's okay.
You know, so
and that's okay.
And that's okay, because things eventually work out in such a beautiful way. You know, like, yes, I went through the divorce and separated from my husband, then divorced in 2022, and we are like probably the best co-parenters that I could ever imagine. Like, our relationship is so much better than it was being married, you know. And but too, you know, I think that goes back to like, what does marriage mean? What does that mean to you? You know, in my life, all the examples I had of marriage was toxic and broken, and oof, you know what I'm saying? And, and here I am trying to hold together something that I don't even have the tools to hold it together.
Right.
And that's the reality.
Wow.
You know? So, yeah, that was harsh. And those are those hard things. Like, I really had to take a look at myself and be like, I'm not ready for that. Right. I'm not even there yet.
Yeah.
I thought I was, but I was fooling myself.
Right.
So
well, it's good. I'm glad you were able to do that and get out, because some people stay way too long, and then live a miserable life. But, like you said, you guys bounced back, and now you're great co-parenters.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. That's a blessing. That's definitely a blessing.
Yeah, it is.
So when did your creativity, like poetry and theater, first become a part of your life?
I think when I was like a freshman in high school. Yeah, I'd say freshman year. My dad got me into this like youth group, a spoken word youth group. And it was the first time, like, I wrote poetry, but I never did spoken word. So it was like spoken word and poetry are very, very two different things. Spoken word is performative, and poetry is like more like I'm writing my diary kind of thing. So it really opened my world up to like, wow, I can take these words and make it into that, And even though I was really, really shy and I didn't do too much with the group, but what I took from the group was just the power of performance and the power of words. And then from there, like, I was always in school plays and things like that. But it wasn't until I actually met my ex-husband, because he's an artist, and he's a very famous local hip-hop artist here in Sacramento. So at the time, he was very well known, and I just I was kind of just hanging in there with him, and I made jewelry and sewed and things like that, and he had me on a couple of songs for poetry. Then a couple of his friends were like, hey, I want you to come get on a song. So nice. There was that. So it was being around him gave me an outlet to share my work, but I never really took myself that seriously back then, which is funny because, it was always like it was his aura over my aura, you know what I mean? Yeah. So he was this bigger thing, and then here I was. So I never really saw myself up at that level. And it really wasn't until probably after I had my youngest daughter in 2011 that I was really like, no, I'm pretty dope at what I do.
Yes, you are.
No, I really like what I do. Yes. So yeah, from there, I just really started being more taking myself more seriously.
I love that. And you still kicking, you still going, you out here. I see you out there,
Thank you.
Just, and having that space. And now your children, I've met two of your kids, and they're amazing.
Yes.
They are incredible. Like, I hear them, and they're out there on the scene, and it's just like, you guys did really well.
Thank you.
You could tell the co-parenting is amazing.
Yeah, I think we're big influences on who they are in that sense. I know they probably wouldn't really say that, but when they were younger, we took them to every show.
I love that.
Every show that was all ages.
I love it, yep.
They were deeply involved in the process and in the whole life. It was a life. We lived a very creative lifestyle, so, and it's hard to shake that, and because when I separated and stuff, I was like, no, I'm not going to be involved in all this. Like, I really wanted to separate myself from it, but it's so much a part of who I am that it's like, that's really denying who I am. So why would I do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's dope. That's dope. So, what role did creativity play for you during your younger years?
More of an outlet. Mm-hmm. It was more of an outlet for expressing the things I couldn't express. Yeah. A lot of the unspoken things I couldn't really say. That's pretty much what it was for me then. As an adult, it's changed so much for me. Now as an adult, it's the same thing, but what is the outlet is being shared.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Whereas before, the outlet, it was just, this is my outlet, and I'm just, keep it in my little diary. But
right.
now it's like, no, I'd rather share what I'm feeling and thinking, and share what I've created, rather
right.
than just hold on to it.
Yeah, no, it's very rewarding too to be able to release that. Just to release it. Sometimes it could be difficult depending on what it is you're going through and what you're sharing.
Yeah.
But on the other end, it's just like, it's rewarding to think that what you share is going to help somebody else.
Yes.
Absolutely.
At least I hope so.
Right, that part. So, how did growing up around mental health and addiction impact your perspective today?
Ooh. I feel like there's certain types of people. This is what I've learned from being around people with addictions, is that there's people that really truly, like, the addiction comes from a place that they need healing, and they use the substances as something to help with that healing.
Right.
And they may not be ready to face the actual demons and ask the whys. Like, you have to ask those whys, you know what I'm saying? And then there's people who, they don't want to ask the whys.
Right.
It feels better for them to be numb and to not want to be better,
right.
And so they'll just continuously do the same thing and continuously hurt people. So that's just been my perspective of people in general.
Yeah.
I think people in general kind of fall in those categories. But when it comes to, like, people wanting help, there's those that really want the help and maybe don't know or have the tools to ask.
Yeah.
And then there's those who know they need the help, but maybe they don't have the strength and empowerment
right.
to ask.
Right.
So, yeah.
So, you said your mom was diagnosed with was she diagnosed with bipolar,
Mm-hmm.
or you guys actually knew?
Oh, she was diagnosed with bipolar. Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people go through their lives without being diagnosed, but self-medicating is an escape for them.
Yeah.
That's how a lot of people become addicted to drugs.
Yeah.
And alcohol or other things.
She was funny because, she was the type that, I don't want to be on my meds, like, and she'd go off meds.
I hear that a lot.
Yeah. She'd go off meds, and then manic would set in,
right.
and then, it was just this constant cycle that she just, was chasing.
Yeah.
It was like a chasing thing. And I love my mom, but I still feel like she's one of those people that falls into the category of, like, she had the resources to get help, a lot of resources. Like, my grandfather was a very wealthy man, so she had a lot of the resources. A lot of family loved her, No one turned their back on her,
right.
So she had lots of support, but it was just her choice, And it's funny, after she passed, I got to read, like, she's a writer too. My mom was very creative, but again, like, such a waste of creativity. Like, she was extremely creative, very talented. And she left behind a bunch of journals, and I got to read a couple of them. And one of them in particular was like, I like the fast life. I like being in the fast lane. I was like, girl, and that's where you are right now.
Yeah.
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 And, respect. And, like, and I think I got to a point where you have to respect them.
Yeah, you do.
That's the only way to love them, is to accept them.
Right. You have to. It's a choice. Just like me and you have a choice to get up every day and do what it is, free will, and what it is we want to do and create and what we want to put our energy in. People, everybody else has their free will to do that as well. It's all, it's the human experience. And to have respect, it hurts. It definitely hurts because I know and I feel and I believe that my mom was undiagnosed. She was in a lot of denial, and I would always talk to her about getting help, and she'd be like, I don't have that, I don't want that, don't put that on me, She just believed in going to church, and it just sucks because it hurts me, but I'm like, okay, I had to, because I would stop a lot of battles. Like, if I keep pushing, then it's gonna put a wedge between us even more. So
yeah, you have to choose your battles wisely, for sure, and put up boundaries.
Right.
I feel like the moment I really put my boundaries up with my mom, our relationship changed tremendously, so it was a lot of like, you can't come to the house that way. You're not going to be around your grandkids that way. You can't, and those are the ones that are like, they're hurtful.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean you're not going to let me see my, well, you're not going to see them if you're in a state that is not sober. Right. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's the way it's going to be.
Tough. It's tough.
And it's tough, you know? So it's like, you either follow my rules and then then there's the flip switching, because here I am, the daughter, telling my parent to follow my rule. If you don't follow my rule, then you're not going to get what you want. And, that gets to be exhausting over time. So like you have to keep your boundaries up, which in a way, I feel like I never got to really like experience my mom in like my mom, but I still appreciate the times that I do. Yeah. Like, I have a lot of good, like, I can tick off so many boxes of just having the best time with her. Absolutely. Just absolutely. She was like my best friend. Like, she called me just about every day on some BS, usually. Just like,
but still,
like,
that call.
Did you hear about
call,
this? That call. Always,
that call.
And just how you do. I just want to tell you I love you, and like, just despite the fact of being like an addicted, someone who was really in the full cycle of addiction, she still managed to reach out and say, I love you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I love that woman, and we went through a lot, and she really made me who I am today. Like, just able to forgive and move forward, be understanding. And not take shit too. Yeah. Like, I really learned like who to put my boundaries up with, what's appropriate. Yeah. Sometimes it's not appropriate all the time. Sometimes people just, they just need love too. Right. But
that part. Yeah. No, that's a blessing. Thank you for sharing that. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. So, how did losing your mother in 2016 shape your healing journey right now?
It really put me on the path of healing. It just opened up my whole world. Like I said, I mentioned that when she passed, I remember like saying to myself, I will never let anyone treat me like that again, ever. And yeah, so from that point on, I just been, and that even includes myself, you know what I'm saying? So from that point forward, it's just been a very conscientious effort just to be better, to be well, to love life again, you know, to really love life. Like, yeah, she was just an example for me that I'm like I said, I don't think she really lived her life to the fullest extent, you know, and it's like, I think it really helped me question, like, what does that mean for me, living my life to the fullest extent? And, you know, when there's no one, the only person who can stop me is me.
Exactly. Yeah.
know?
Yeah. That's true. That is true. 100%. I feel the same way. That's why I'm like, we out here creating and, you know, trying to make a better way for our children and just be better people for the community and, you know, Earth. For life.
Earth. Yes.
Definitely.
Be the change you want to see in the world.
Exactly. Yes. I love that. So what lesson did grief teach you about life and resilience?
Ooh, what lesson did grief teach me? That's a good question. I'd say it taught me to show up and be honest. Yes. Like, you can't hide the grief as much as you try. It's still going to show up. It shows up in your face. It shows up in your demeanor. It shows up in the way you carry yourself. So I think just being honest about where I'm at, you know. Yeah. And I think that was one of the hardest things was, this one time my husband, my mom passed. I was not dealing with nobody for probably about a good month. I was in bed crying constantly, and my ex-husband came in one time and he's like, looks at me, you've got to get out of this bed. And I looked at him, I said, no, I don't have to get out of this bed. I'm like, I'm gonna be here as long as I feel that it's necessary for me to be here. I'm like, you can leave. Wow. And it was like the first time I felt that I stood up to him, you know, because normally I'd have been like, okay, you're right, you know, but I was just like, no, I have to dive into this grief. Like, I lost my mom.
Yeah.
My mother, like, his mother's still alive. I love her to death. You know what I'm saying? But, like, how dare you even try to fucking put yourself in my shoes right now and tell me to get out of bed? Because my kids need me. You're their father.
Yep.
They need you to be there for them while I need to heal.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that was a kicker. And I think that was, like, definitely, like, it was a lot of, I'm not at the capacity to do this right now. I can't do this right now. There's a lot of telling people that where, I would have probably, you know, if it was anyone else, I'd have been like, okay, you know, if it was an auntie or whatever, you know, you just show up. But with my mom, I was like, I can't. Like, I can barely show up for myself right now.
Right.
Like, how do you expect me to show up for you?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's the thing is, like, people need to realize, like, grief is ever changing, and you just have to allow yourself to sit in that space, you know, and that's powerful for you to even say something like that, like you said, because it is like being a mother and always being the go-getter. It's constantly like people pleasing and getting up and doing things that people want, not on your own terms. So, you know, that power coming out of you, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's all these expectations that they put on us, you know, and it's like, you know how raising a family, you know, there's these expectations, but it's like, what about my expectations?
Right.
What about me? Who's going to take care of me?
Exactly.
You know, like that was scary. Who is going to take care of me?
Right. I still feel that way. I'm like, you know, my mom, like you said, that call, she was the one who always called. My phone has been so silent for the past few years since she passed. It's just like she always, no matter what we were going through, she would still call and check and see how I'm doing, or at least leave a message, you know, and I miss those calls. You know, and it's just like, it does, like, once your mom passes away, it's like, who's going to take care of me now? Even though I'm an adult, I'm still I'm grown,
I'm going to take care of my,
but still, that feeling,
like, I really, you know, you want someone, that's a yearning. I think it's just so natural for us to yearn for someone to take care of us.
Absolutely.
You know? I still call out for my mom. I still want her to reach out to me from time to time.
Okay. All right. That's how did navigating marriage, divorce, and motherhood change you?
Oh, it changed me in a way where I feel like I have to show up. Like, you know, there's only me. I'm the only one here to do it.
Right.
So I have to show up to do it, you know. So it's honestly it's made me a better person in showing up, where I'm not having to rely on my partner, you know, and their energy to help it or buffer what's going on with me. It's like, it's just me. Or even asking, like, my girls, like, okay, you know, need help here. Can someone take the trash out? Can someone feed the cat? Instead of me being the one to feed the cat all the time.
Right. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's hard, and raising little ones and then having them take on some responsibility is just like, you know, forever changing. But being a mother, it's always you showing up for everything.
Yes.
No matter what, even if they do give that little bit of help, it still lands on you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that was the biggest thing that through all of that was realizing that, no, I have to be well. I have to be better. I have to put, like, it's only me and then my girls. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I need to do this for survival.
Right. Yeah, you're doing great. You are.
Thank
I
you.
see it. You're doing great. So, how has your mental health journey influenced how you show up in the world today?
Again, I just show up.
Right.
You know, I think that being very honest about where my capacity is at, especially working with my partner Moon, you know, what we do with SAC 916 and managing her and what have you. There's a lot of times where I'm just like, I'm overworked from my regular work, you know, and feeling overwhelmed by home responsibilities, you know, and then we have a show coming up and have to do this promotion or have to do a promo video. And it's like, I can't show. I'm sorry, I can't be at. I'm not at the capacity. And we both have gotten better about speaking about that. So
well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's
Shout out
good.
to Moon, because
Shout out to Moon. We love Moon.
She really has having someone who's just as understanding and is like, you know, we're on the same. We're all on the journey. We are all on this journey together, holding each other's hands on this journey together. And I appreciate that about her, is that she gets it. That's, you know, dope. So that, and I think also surrounding myself with more people who understand that too.
Right. And that's big though, because I feel the same way. Like, this community has been amazing in really understanding, and like me creating Thursday Therapies and having people come on this platform. Everybody that I've had up here, even where I record, Woodsworks Media, is a blessing, and just everybody creating and going through their own journey, but it's just so welcoming, you know, and meeting me where I'm at.
Yeah.
And then sometimes not. I'm like checking out, staying at home, you know.
And you have to do that from time to time. So you can show up to do more of these, you know. And that's okay. I think sometimes I feel like, you know, maybe we put too much pressure on ourselves to show up.
Right.
That it's okay to kind of like be, and I think that comes with like just sitting with who you are as a person, you know. Like, we can't do everything, and it's not healthy for us to try, you know. It just really isn't. It's been, I'm not trying to go into political things, but I just feel like it's a psyop. Like, we have been conditioned to believe we have to work 9 to 5, and we have to, on the weekends, we have to either do yard work, or we got to go take our kids someplace. All of our kids have to be in soccer and basketball, and, you know, and then what do we do with the rest of our time? Right. When we, like, I have no time on the weekends to do nothing for myself. Right. But I have to go drive people around and get them to school, and don't forget about grocery shopping, and don't forget about cooking, and then we have to clean our house, and we have a long, you know what I'm saying? Yes. And then when do we have time to do things that matter to us? Exactly. Like, I love my kid. I want to take him to soccer practice, but that don't benefit me. That benefits him. Right. Or does it? You know what I'm saying? Right. You know, so yeah. And I feel I'm very like revolutionary when it comes to like that aspect of things. Like, even with my own kid, I'm like, when she chooses extracurricular things, I'm like, be real with yourself. Right. Is this something that you think you're going to continuously do and want to do for this amount of time? Right. Let's be real. Yeah, you got to be honest. You're giving up a lot of your time, and, you know, on every Saturday to do this from this time to this time. Right. Let's be real. And, you know, and that honestly has helped a lot with just having her choose, like, understanding, like, the value of our time. Right. We give our time up to everything else. Like, you gotta take some of that time back. Oh yeah, I get it, because even right now I got La Paris. She's in theater right now for play Frozen, and my Fridays are tied up till May. I got a driver. I'm the one who got to drive her all the way to Elk Grove to practice rehearsal. Yes, you know. So see, it's a lot. You. I get it. I feel you. I feel you. Friday, I'm up at it. You know, work, pick her up. Rehearsal. I don't get home until it's dark outside. Yeah, and then you're like, where is the time? I have not had time to myself. Right. You know, and then I get it. Yeah, you get it, right? Yeah. As much as we love, I mean, for me, as much as I love my kids and like helping my family and stuff, there's a lot of times where I'm like, I really need just like a day. Right. You know, my oldest daughter doesn't drive, so I take her to work from time to time. And I'm like, I'm not taking you to work tomorrow. I really need to sleep in. Yeah. And she's like, okay, that's fine. I'll take an Uber. And I'm like, oh, good. Yeah. But, you know, old Amber would have felt hella guilty about all that, because I feel like I'm not being a good mom, showing up and doing this and doing that and da-da-da-da-da. Yes. But it's like, no, I'm being a better mom by being like, hey, I can't take you to work tomorrow. Yeah. I love that. Yes. Yeah. And I love her for understanding too. Like, she gets it. So. That's good. That's good. That's good. So, what inspired you to start the SAC Artist 916 and Cultural Circle? And what do you have? You have so many different platforms that you open up spaces for artists. Man, what inspired me was all the wonderful talent we have here in Sacramento. There's a lot. There's a lot, and there's not enough opportunities for them to be put on in a way where I say, in a way, to be paid fairly, to be represented fairly. I just really wanted to create space for musicians to, show up and be able to be themselves and perform and not like worry about like, oh, am I going to get paid for this show? Am I, who's going to promote the show? Da, da, da. There's just like, there's a lot of ins and outs in that whole arena that I've learned just from being with my ex-husband and his band and, all the things that they had to go through. So it was really one of those things where it's like, be the change you want to see in the world.
Right. I love that.
I would love to see this change in Sacramento. I want to see more venues put more people on. Yes. I want to see more happen,
I love that.
So, that's pretty much where it came from. And I say it's a lot bigger than myself. I really can't pinpoint like, oh yeah, this is when I decided, but I feel like it's bigger than myself. It's just something that it's like so out of my hands right now.
Right, I get it.
Where I'm just okay, I had, I don't even, it comes and we have plans, we have planned out, we have bigger plans for what we want to do in the future, for how we want SAC 916 to look. So I'm really excited about that. I don't really like disclosing that kind of stuff because I feel that, those manifestations, like they'll happen when you let them marinate inside and stuff. But
right.
Culture circle, open mics. Really, we're still trying to find a place, like a home for that. And again, open mics, like this one, we just wanted to create a space where people can show up and share what they've been working on. And not necessarily like we're like in a performative aspect of it, but in a aspect of like, maybe it's something they just wrote like that day, because they're feeling some kind of way and they just want to perform it. You know what I'm saying? In a space like that, or something where people are just, they're working on something and like working on a project and they haven't put it out yet, but they, they want to, feel it out and stuff like that. So like come to Culture Circle and just a place to network and, I feel like it's like the baseline of creativity, open mics are really important for artists to get themselves out there.
Yes.
But important to hone in on their skills. I think that's the most important part of open mics.
Right.
Is coming to a mic to not just like come look at me, but like come look at me be better than I was last week. Come look at me, come look at me grow on this mic. So that's why we created Culture Circle. And that too was something that it came from, it was like a marriage and now we're divorced. It was kind of like a marriage. Like we came together with a particular venue, and then that venue owner ended up selling it to someone else, and then we still stayed at the venue, but it was like and then now we have Culture Circle. Like this baby was birthed, and what do we do with the baby? So now we're trying to find a home for the baby.
Okay.
And hopefully Musiclandria, we had our last Culture Circle there. I wasn't able to do this month's because of my sciatica, but I'm hoping to be there next month.
Yeah.
And
it's a nice venue. I like it.
I love the venue. I love like that it's nonprofit, and I feel like it just feeds back into the idea of community.
Right.
Right.
That goes into my next question. You kind of answered it, but what challenges have you faced while building these community platforms?
Yeah, finding venues, working with the right people has been a really big challenge.
Yeah.
I think it's hard, how can I say? We have a different vision. Like my vision for SAC 916 may not equate to someone else's vision of what they think SAC 916 is. Like people always thought you were like a promoters, but we're not promoted. I'm like SAC 916 and we're not promoters. I don't do shows every week to be a promoter, but what we do is that I like to say that we like to help cultivate artists.
Yes.
Like, we like to help cultivate their careers and where they are. A lot of the people we put on have not done shows, or they haven't even been, like, they have no idea. This is their first time doing anything. So when they come to us, we're actually showing them, like, this is what, these are the things, everything's transparent. We talk about, payouts and, what's expected. We expect everyone to help with the promotion. So it's yeah, I think one of the challenges also of it is just getting people to understand what SAC 916 is all about. Because we're really just there. We want to help cultivate the artists.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I love it. It's just, I've seen a lot of people grow in your spaces.
I'm so glad you said that, because that is, honestly, that's the one thing that I'm like, I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I got lipstick on my shirt. I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing because I've seen it myself.
Right.
Like, I've seen many of the artists that we've worked with in the past, and like them growing in their career and just making these moves. And I'm just like, yeah, that's right. I love being that mentor for our community.
And it always feels safe. Every time I ever come there and perform, I always feel safe.
Good. I'm glad to. That's another aspect that we have really been working on, is creating a safer space.
Yeah. And it's not like not too much pressure.
No pressure. Just come do your thing. You know, I like to feel like, like when you're at your auntie's house on a Friday night and all the cousins are over, and you got the music playing in the background, and then and then the cousin goes up and starts doing their thing and stuff, and then the next song comes in. And the cousin's like, let me go get my tape and then you have a whole talent show coming off. That's how I like to see our events. I like to see what we do as that. It's just like cousins coming together and just having fun,
showing up
and showing out.
I like that. So how has collaborating with others support your own growth and healing?
Repeat that one more time.
How has collaborating with others supported your own growth and healing?
Communication. I think it has improved my communication. I used to be very timid about communicating with people, like outside of my circle, or, like to venue owners, or, like the big people I felt that were higher up than me. I feel like I always had like a hard time reaching out to those people, but now I don't. Like now, I feel everyone's on the same playing ground.
I was going to say equal playing field.
Everyone's like is the same.
We're all out here trying to get it.
Yes, exactly. But before going into it, it's hard. You put people on these pedestals, and then I think that's one of the things too that I've learned is like, no, there's no more putting people on pedestals. Everyone is on the same plane.
We're all here, and if we don't see eye to eye, then I'll move on to the next.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
I like that. So, what message do you hope people take away from your story?
I hope that people take away that, despite maybe being dealt some funky cards or the wrong cards, that, if you stay in the game long enough, you can definitely outplay them.
Right.
You can definitely win. I don't feel that we are. I used to have this thing where I thought like, we're just products of our environment. And that's like such a weird, toxic way to look at life. I no longer look at life like that. Yeah. Like I look at life as like, we can be victors over our environment. Like we are victors. Every day we wake up, we are victors in, cheating death. I mean, we don't know when our numbers are up. You know what I'm saying? So anytime you wake up, like you are victoriously living in the glory of a new day. So that, I guess that's what I can take from all that, and let people know that, no matter what, that it's always something better at the end. No matter what dark you're in, like there really is light at the end of the tunnel. Like there really, really, really is light at the end of the tunnel.
There is. I believe it. Absolutely.
You just have to keep finding it. You really do. And part of that is looking in yourself for it too. You can't. It's like, how can you heal something that's internal when you're seeking things that's external.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, right? So you kind of like, we got to use our common sense here.
You got to.
Got to use your common sense.
Figure it out.
Yeah, to figure it all out. And a lot of it is like, it's got to be real with yourself. It's you. Right. And it's okay to sit with that, you know? It is okay. It's okay.
And that's the scary part. A lot of people, the reason why they don't get the help is because they're afraid to sit with it because it's so heavy. But sometimes you have to sit through that heaviness. Yeah. You definitely have to sit because there will be light at the end.
Yes.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yes. So what does being the change you want to see look like in your life today?
Well, for myself, I feel that what I've been doing with SAC 916 and Culture Circle, how I want to just change our music scene, our art and cultural scene. I think adding these spaces that people can come to and feel safe and feel included, you know, to feel part of a community, part of a space, rather than just like, oh, this was really cool. But actually, like, that's the change that I want to see more, is like people taking more responsibility for their community and the roles that they play in the community, you know, and not just being like community organizers, but also being members of the community, you know. That means how are you going to show up as a member of the community, you know, whether it's like, you know, showing up to give extra if you're a videographer, you want do videography or whatever, or whether it's just showing up and you took some stuff and you want to post it on Instagram, or even just sharing with your folks, like, you know, hey, you should really check out Thursday Therapies. My girl Jamie's doing some good work, you know, like those kinds of things, because it really takes all of us to like make these things like sustainable and to continue, you know. It takes and if people are showing up, you know, it takes them to help us with it continuing, you know.
You got to keep the show going.
You got to keep the show going. So I think that's also part of being the change, is like showing up. Like if you want more things to happen in Sacramento, then you have to show up to these things for them to happen.
And give a helping hand. Give you a helping hand. We all have talents. We all have things that we're good at, you know. Volunteer some of your time to these community events. Definitely, because we're all out here trying to make it, and you know, although everybody looks good on camera, sometimes we're still out here. You know, a lot of us have 9 to 5s and still got to put in work in other areas. So you know, it's good that people show up and lend a helping hand, because that's what it takes. Is a community. It definitely takes a community. Yes. So, what legacy do you hope to leave for your community and for your family?
That's a good question. I hope that, you know, I hope my grandkids, because that's where I can like equate where the legacy will come from. But, you know, Luna's kids or Soul's kids, like, I hope that there's a time when they're like 10 years old and then there's spaces for them to go to. You know, there's spaces for them to create that is all ages, youth oriented, you know. We got the youth stage over here, you know, like they have something popping off every Friday, Saturday nights, you know, like I would love for that to be a thing, you know. And it used to be a thing in Sacramento, but you know, things happen, and but the kids need that, you know. They really need that. So that's what that I'd feel like, okay, we did something.
Yes, I love that. Thank you so very much. So thank you so much for coming on Thursday Therapies.
Thank you.
And having, you know, not feeling good. It's a blessing to have you here.
Thank you.
You know, your story is amazing, and I'm glad I got to sit down with you and hear about you. And I know that you got some things in the works coming up.
Yeah.
What shows do you have next?
We have it's called the Femme Frequency Show. It's on March 28th at Musiclandria. We have 9 total female artists.
I love that.
3 poets, 3 producer, beat makers, and 3 performing artists. I can go down the list. Alyssa the G, Maita, and Satya are our performing artists. Our poets are J. Rowe, Raya in the Sky, and Mel. And then our producers are Moon Magic, Ebony Esra, and Miss Vane.
Love it.
And we'll have vendors as well.
Powerful.
So yeah, it's going to be a really nice evening. Musiclandria, and come out.
Yes. So where can people find you?
People can find me at sacartistcollaboration.916 on Instagram. Or if you're interested in Culture Circle open mics, you can find me at culture_circle.916 on Instagram as well. So, and hopefully we'll be up and going in April.
Nice.
So yeah, stay tuned, please.
Yes, absolutely. Stay tuned. Until next time, keep the conversation going. Subscribe, like, comment, and check yourself. Check your mental health.
Peace.